Hey guys, I'm Robin. I teach people tools and techniques to master their life. I'm a tarot reader, a certified hypnotist, certified NLP coach, certified Reiki master, certified life coach. If you're interested in working with me, I have individual and group programs that you could join. Go to my website and download the free self-concept workshop and check out all the sales that I'm running this month. The best value is the Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life program paired with VIP group coaching. I think you'll find that your needs will be met completely with those programs. You can check them all out here. And make sure you follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all the other social medias. I love you guys. In today's video, I'm going to cover the first chapter of Feeling is the Secret by Neville Goddard. So I'm going to be reading and also explaining the concepts. I think Feeling is the Secret is his #1 book that he's come out with. Chapter 1, The Law and Its Operation. The world and all within it is man's conditioned consciousness objectified. So what he's saying is the 3D world is based on our projection from our consciousness. So if you want to think of objectify equals creating in the 3D. Okay, so when he uses that word objectify or objectifies, it's parallel or synonymous with creating in the 3D. Consciousness is the cause as well as the substance of the entire world. So it is to consciousness that we must turn if we want to discover the secret to creation, to 3D creation. Knowledge of the law of consciousness and the method operating this law will enable you to accomplish all you desire in life. Armed with a working knowledge of this law, you can build and maintain an ideal world. So you're literally building your 3D world, your specific 3D world, from your consciousness. Consciousness is the one and only reality, not figuratively, but actually. So he's not saying, it's similar or it's like. He's saying it's actually, consciousness is actually how we're creating our 3D reality. This reality may be, for the sake of clarity, be likened into a stream which is divided into two parts, the conscious and the subconscious. In order to intelligently operate the law of consciousness, it is necessary to understand the relationship between conscious and subconscious. So I always point to the front for consciousness. This is what I'm aware of, what I could see, what I'm conscious of. And then the subconscious is what I'm not aware of what I can't see. The trick or the goal is to make the subconscious conscious at all costs. In order to intelligently operate the law of consciousness, it is necessary to understand that relationship. The conscious is personal and selective. The subconscious is impersonal and non-selective. The conscious is the realm of effect. This is super important. So the consciousness, what we see, is the effect, but the subconscious is the realm of cause. So the subconscious causes the conscious or the 3D reality. These two aspects are the male-female divisions of consciousness. So consciousness is male, subconscious is female. We're going to get into more of that a little further. The conscious generates ideas and impresses these ideas on the subconscious. So your conscious, what you're seeing in the world today, what you're doing, your thoughts, what you're speaking, how you're feeling, okay? Anything that's happening consciously is impressing on the subconscious. Remember, the subconscious is what we don't see or we're not aware of. The subconscious receives ideas and gives form and expression to them. So the thoughts create the beliefs. The conscious observation creates beliefs in the subconscious mind. Those beliefs are what create your actual reality. It's the subconscious that is creating, and then the conscious is the after effect, the physical mirror. Okay? By this law, first conceiving an idea and then impressing the idea conceived on the subconscious, all things evolve out of consciousness. And without this sequence, there is not anything made that is made. The conscious impresses the subconscious, while the subconscious expresses what has been impressed upon it. The subconscious does not originate ideas, but accepts as true those which the conscious mind feels to be true in a way known only to itself, objectifies the accepted ideas. So what they're saying is the conscious mind impresses on the subconscious. The subconscious just acts, or it doesn't ever differentiate between, oh, this is right, oh, this is wrong. It just automatically assumes that whatever the conscious is telling them is correct. So let's say, for instance, in my 3D reality, I'm observing consciously. My observation is that men are crap, or all men cheat. Let's say that that's my observation, okay? Or that's what I'm experiencing. It's going to impress on my subconscious mind that all men are trash. All men are cheaters. So the subconscious now is going to continuously, it's going to just accept that as true. And then it's going to keep showing that to me in 3D. I will be consciously aware every time a man cheats. It will be brought to my attention. Now, RAS plays a part of that, the reticular activating system, but we're not going to get into that yet. So the subconscious just accepts it as true. So if I make an observation, or I have a thought, or I have a belief that I'm consciously thinking about, it's going to impress on my subconscious mind and just accept it as true. It never does any fact checking. It just allows it in, which is a problem. But anyway, therefore, through his power to imagine and feel and his freedom to choose the idea he will entertain, man has control over creation. And man has control over creation by the story that he tells, the observation that he's making of 3D, and the story that he tells the subconscious mind. Okay? So what my conscious is telling my subconscious mind, we're just going to assume that it's true. Control of the subconscious is accomplished through control of your ideas and feelings. Again, the subconscious is what's being created, what's actually being created, not the conscious. Okay? Consciously, I may be saying, I want a relationship. I want a healthy man. I deserve a healthy man, blah, 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 blah. But subconsciously, I may have a belief that I'm not worthy or that all men are trash. The mechanism of creation is hidden in the very depth of the subconscious, the female aspect, or the womb creation. So there's a gestational period, okay? From the time that my conscious impresses on my subconscious an idea, a thought, a belief, there's a period of time. Now, it could be instant. In some cases, we're instantly manifesting. In other cases, there's a gestational period, meaning there's a period of time that it's going to take for that seed to actually grow, okay? We're planting seeds in our mind, and those seeds are going to grow into our 3D reality. The subconscious transcends reason and is independent of induction. So the subconscious doesn't reason for you. It doesn't say, hey, Robin, I know you believe that all men cheat, but actually only X% cheat. And there are still a high percentage of men out there that don't cheat. It's never going to do that. It is just going to accept that belief that all men cheat. I don't have that belief, but you may have that belief. It's just going to accept that belief as true, and it's not going to bring in any other data or any other information. That's for your conscious mind to dig into the subconscious to find out what are the beliefs so that you could transmute them or reprogram them. And I want to say this, it's going to come up a little further, but your dominant beliefs, your dominant thoughts are what actually manifest. Again, if you're saying, I'm worthy, if you're consciously saying, I'm worthy of having an amazing man, but subconsciously you don't believe that, and that's your dominant thought, then you're not going to get a good man. That's why you need to uncover what's hidden in the subconscious. So the subconscious transcends reason and is independent of induction. It contemplates a feeling as a fact existing within itself, and on this assumption proceeds to give expression to it. Whatever your dominant thoughts are, have to be expressed. That's the law. Your dominant thoughts must be expressed. That's why we do hypnosis. That's why we do affirmations. That's why we use all of these tools. Identify the limiting belief and reprogram it. Make a new thought, a better thought, more dominant than the crappy thought that we had. So what you consciously want doesn't necessarily equal what you subconsciously create. The creative process begins with the idea, and its cycle runs its course as a feeling and ends in a volition to act. So there's an idea that creates a feeling, and that feeling prompts us to act in some way, shape, or form. Ideas are impressed on the subconscious through the medium of feeling. Okay, so feeling is the secret. No idea can be impressed on the subconscious until it is felt. But once felt, be it good, bad, or indifferent, it must be expressed. Again, the dominant one has to be expressed. That's the law. It must be expressed. Feeling is the one and only medium through which ideas are conveyed to the subconscious. Therefore, the man who does not control his feeling may easily impress the subconscious with undesirable states. So if you're not consciously aware of what you're thinking throughout the day, and you're wondering why your 3D is so messed up, it's your job to understand what you are consciously thinking about or subconsciously thinking about throughout the day. Make it conscious, become aware of it. And Bashar talks about this all the time. Once you become aware of it, you could give that up if it's a limiting belief, if it's a block. You could choose in the moment to just give it up. You want to control your feelings, not suppress them. Big difference here. By control of feeling, it's not meant by restraint or suppression of your feeling, but rather the disciplining of self to imagine and entertain only such feelings that contributes to your happiness. Control of your feelings is all important to a full and happy life. Never entertain an undesirable feeling. Never think sympathetically about wrong in any way, shape, or form. Do not dwell on the imperfection of your words, of yourself or others. To do so is to impress the subconscious with these limitations. Okay. A very important point that he's making here. Do not wish ill on anyone else. Okay. Everyone is you pushed out. I'm not covering that in this chapter. I'll cover that in a separate reading. Put in the comments if you want me to cover that. Everyone is you pushed out. Don't be saying, I hope they get their karma. I hope they learn their lesson. What comes around goes around. You're wishing that onto yourself, because we're all one. Okay. You're wishing bad on others, that's going to get reflected back on you. So don't ever do that. That's why in my readings, I caution people about the comments that they're making. If you're wishing something bad on someone else, you're actually, what comes around goes around. It's going to be reflected back to you. Again, everyone is you pushed out. What you do not want done onto you, do not feel that it should be done onto you or another. Okay? This is the whole law of a full and happy life. Everything else is just commentary. Every feeling makes a subconscious impression, and unless it is counteracted by a more powerful feeling, a more dominant thought of an opposite nature, it must be expressed. So if you're thinking, oh, he's going to cheat, oh, he's going to cheat, he's not going to call me, he's not going to return my text. If you're thinking those thoughts, and they are your dominant thoughts, it must be expressed in 3D. That's exactly what you're going to get in the mirror. The mirror is what you're going to view in your 3D reality. The dominant of two feelings is the one that gets expressed. Again, this is why we reprogram the subconscious mind using affirmations. If I have a belief that all men are trash, I want to do affirmations that there are amazing men in this world. I only attract in amazing men. I only attract in high quality men. You want to make that your dominant thoughts, your dominant beliefs, your dominant feelings. So then that must get expressed in 3D. To feel I will be is to confess that I am not. This is a super important piece here. When I say I will be good enough, or I will attract in an amazing man, versus I am with an amazing man, the I will is admitting that I don't have it. And we want to operate on the I already have what I desire. I already have what I want. Okay? You don't want to use negatives or I will. I am is the perfect expression of any of the thoughts that you want to make dominant. Think feelingly only of the state you desire to realize. Feeling the reality of the state sought and living and acting on that conviction is the way of all seeming miracles. So what he's saying is act as if it's already happened. Okay? Talk as if it's already happened. Speak as if it's already happened. Walk around the world as if you already have what it is that you desire. When you do that, you're assuming the wish fulfilled, and it has to show up in your 3D reality exactly that way. If that is your dominant thought, your dominant belief, it has to be expressed in 3D. All creation occurs in the domain of the subconscious. Chance or accident is not responsible for the things that happen, nor is predestined fate the author of your fortune or misfortune. Now, this is a great point, okay? Tarot. When I do tarot readings, I'm giving you the most likely outcome based on your current thoughts and beliefs in that moment, okay? You can change it. So if you come to me and we do a tarot reading, that's why I do quantum jumping tarot readings. I lead you, I see where you're at with your thoughts and your beliefs. I help identify any blocks. We jump over those blocks and I bring you to a higher timeline, a much better timeline. And if you listen to every single thing that I tell you what to do in the tarot reading, you're going to get the better timeline versus the crappy timeline that you started with. Okay? Tarot, I could literally see percentage of likelihood when I do certain readings. If I'm doing a one-on-one reading with someone, I can generally just see percentage likelihood of that occurring for that person. But again, you can change it. So if you come to me and you get a terrible reading, I will tell you, here's how to transmute it. Here's what you need to do to change that. And you could literally jump timelines the very next day. And then if you came to me that next day and got a reading, you can get a completely different reading based on your new thoughts, your new beliefs, your new feelings. All right, I hope that makes sense. Whatever the mind of man can conceive and feel as true, the subconscious can and must objectify. So let's say you want to win the lottery. You have to believe that you've already won the lottery. All right, Bashar actually did a video on this. I know I've talked about this in coaching and on live sessions. The way to go in and purchase the ticket is acting as if you are buying the winning ticket, that you already have the winning ticket, that you already have the winning numbers. Easy peasy. Now, are you going to be able to do that on the first try? Well, some people, if they don't have any limiting beliefs, subconscious limiting beliefs saying, oh, you're never going to win. The odds are too much. Nobody ever wins. I never win at anything. I'm not lucky. I'm not destined or fated to win money. Whatever. Okay, whatever subconscious story you're telling. If you don't have any of that garbage in your mind and you go in and you buy a lottery ticket and you truly are acting as if you've already won it, that's how you win the lottery. Now, Bashar talks about that and says, if it's your highest joy, if it's your highest passion, all right? For me, it's not my highest passion. I'm not a lottery player. I'm not a gambler. And I know I have a lot of limiting beliefs about winning stuff. So my expectation of becoming a millionaire isn't coming from the lottery, okay? It's coming from other areas. The subconscious never alters the accepted beliefs of man. It outpictures them to the last detail, whether or not they are beneficial. To impress the subconscious with a desired state, you must assume the feeling that would be yours had you already realized your wish. So again, if you wanted to win the lottery, you need to act as if you've already won the lottery, that you already have the $55 million in your bank account. Now, again, you have to check your limiting beliefs on that. Do you believe that you'll win the lottery? Do you believe that money is the root of all evil, right? If you have beliefs like that, those are blocks. They're going to block you from having. Those are more dominant, and those will be expressed, okay? Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. So Neville talks about that all the time. The manner of expression or the difficulties involved are not to be considered by you. So the way that the 3D is going to show them to you, the way that they're going to be expressed in reality, it's not up to you to figure it out. If I'm assuming that I'm married, let's say I want to get married, and I have a certain person in mind, it's not up to me to figure out or strategize how that wedding is going to happen. It's up to me to just hold the thought of the wish fulfilled, that it's already done, and move on about my day. It's up to the universe to bring that all together, to express that to me so that I can observe it. To think feelingly on any state impresses it on the subconscious. So anytime you're feeling a certain way, again, let's say I start dating somebody and I have a belief that men ghost me. If that belief is my dominant subconscious belief, as soon as there's a pause in our texting or calling, my fears are going to kick in and I'm going to start feeling anxiety and I'm going to start feeling insecure. That's that anxious attachment style, right? It's going to kick up a feeling of anxiety that he's not going to respond back to me. And because that's my dominant thought, my dominant feeling, my dominant belief, that is what will get expressed in 3D. It has to. It's the law. So stop thinking that crap. And if you have those beliefs, write them down. Reprogram them. The goal here is to identify what are your dominant beliefs. Do your dominant beliefs go against what it is that you desire? If that's the case, replace them with something more dominant that you desire. Okay, that's all we're doing here. That's all we're doing with self-concept work. The subconscious is the womb of creation. It receives the ideas onto itself through the feelings of man. It never changes the idea received, but always gives it form. So your dominant thoughts and beliefs will always be given form. It doesn't change them. Hence, the subconscious outpictures the idea in the image and likeness of the feeling received. To feel a state as hopeless or impossible is to impress the subconscious with the idea of failure. So if you have a belief, I see this all the time in my readings. I see you guys making comments like this all the time. I've been waiting for this to happen for 5 years and it's never happened. Okay, your dominant belief is that nothing ever works out for you. It works out for other people, but it doesn't necessarily work out for you. You have to replace that. That's why a lot of times I'll delete those comments or I'll say, change your self-concept. All right. That is a block. That is a limiting belief if you have that about yourself. Your desires are not subconsciously accepted until you assume the feeling of their reality. For only through feeling is an idea subconsciously accepted, and only through this subconscious acceptance is it ever expressed. It is easier to ascribe your feeling to events in the world than to admit that the conditions of the world reflect your feeling. However, it is eternally true that the outside mirrors the inside. And there's a couple quotes from the Bible. As within, so without. As within the subconscious mind is what ends up manifesting. A man can receive nothing unless it is given to him from heaven. Heaven, if you just replace it with subconscious, okay? Heaven is actually the subconscious mind. And the kingdom of heaven is within you. So heaven is made in your subconscious mind. Nothing comes from without. All things come from within, from the subconscious. All things come from within. The effect comes from your subconscious mind. Okay? Your subconscious mind is the cause. I know I'm repeating myself over and over and over, but those points are super important. Now, this is the last page, and it's just a great summary. It is impossible for you to see other than the contents of your consciousness. Your world in its every detail is your consciousness objectified. Objectified equals created in 3D. Objective states bear witness of subconscious impressions. A change of impression results in the change of expression. So a change of impression, a change of beliefs on the subconscious mind changes the physical 3D reality. That's it. There's nothing more that you need to do. There's nothing more that needs to be said or worked on. The subconscious accepts as true that which you feel as true. And because creation is the result of subconscious impressions, you by your feeling determine creation. So what you feel to be true, this is the law of assumption. Whatever you assume to be true is what will get mirrored back to you or expressed in your 3D reality. You are already that which you want to be, and your refusal to believe this is the only reason that you do not see it. The number one mistake: to seek on the outside for that which you do not feel you are is to seek in vain. And this is the example that I give for this is if my hair, I'm looking at my hair in the mirror, okay, and my hair is messy. I need to adjust it on my body. I need to adjust it within. I'm not going to reach into the screen. I'm not going to reach into the mirror and try to adjust my face, adjust my hair. It's impossible. It has to be adjusted here, and then the mirror will reflect that change back to me. Again, more often than not, it's an immediate thing. You're manifesting 24/7. every single thing that you're doing, turning a light switch on, opening up the refrigerator and all the food that you bought is sitting there. You're manifesting all of that in real time. But it's the things that you want that you have limiting beliefs about, that's what the issue is. Okay? Those things, you have to change the dominant thought. So if you, again, your 3D is messed up or it's not giving you what you want, it's because you have some type of subconscious belief or block that is more dominant than what it is that you consciously want. In short, you express and have only that which you are conscious of being or possessing. Denying the evidence of the senses and appropriating the feeling of the wish fulfilled is the way to the realization of your desire. Basically, all that is exactly what Bashar says. Circumstances don't matter, only state of being matters. Ignore what's happening in 3D and stay focused. Stay focused on what it is that you actually desire. Don't get triggered by the 3D. The number one goal in all of this, mastery of self-control of your thoughts and feelings, is your highest achievement. So that's step one. You want to master your thoughts and your feelings. But until you can master that self-control, use sleep and prayer to aid in your realizing your desired states. So use the manifestation tools and techniques until you can master your self-control. All right? And I use a little bit of both. So for some subjects, right, I don't have a lot of limiting beliefs. But for other subjects, I have limiting beliefs that I'm working on. So I must use self-control, and then I'm going to use tools and techniques and prayer. Prayer is really like setting intentions. Setting intentions really is prayer. So you're going to use sleep and prayer to aid in realizing your desired states. These are the two gateways into the subconscious mind. All right, now that's chapter 1. If you want me to go into other chapters, like the next chapter is on sleep, and that's when he gets into SATS, a state akin to sleep, okay, and using that tool, that technique, and how important sleep is. So put down in the comments, feeling is the secret, if you like this video. If you want more, give me a like and tell me that you want more. All right, I love you guys. You got this.